Cooking with Sheila in the Gangsta Goodies kitchen. I hope you all are having a fabulous day. I wanted to first start the show by sharing a little bit of my journey with living successfully with cutaneous T-cell lymphoma, especially since September is National Lymphoma Awareness Month. So I have shared bits and pieces of it along the way, but I thought I would share a little bit because awareness is critical. Awareness helps to save lives. And so when we're aware of something, we have more knowledge of it, more information, and it just, as my grandmother would say, information is power. And so I just wanted to take a moment to share a little bit of that journey. Now, being on that journey has changed the way I eat. And so hence, the dish that I'm going to show you how to make today is it's a chicken stir fry with lots of vegetables, and I rarely bread anything and fry it at home anymore. If I want some fried chicken, which your girl still likes a piece of fried chicken every once in a while, I just go and buy it instead of cooking it myself. But anyway, let me share a little bit about my story. So, cutaneous T-cell lymphoma. Many people go, what is that? I've never heard of that. What is a lymphoma? So, lymphomas are blood cancers, simply put. And so that means we have blood running off through our body, right? And so it is a cancer that impacts the blood, in particularly the white blood cells, hence the name T-cell. And cutaneous meaning skin. So it impacts the T cells, the white blood cells that are directly related to my skin, y'all. And I'm telling you, there was a period of time where my skin was just so awful. I wouldn't even go out in public. And because it was just that bad. And so, funny story, my granddaughter used to say, oh my God, Gigi, your skin is peeling. They're itching crumbs, because not only did my skin peel like a snake, but it itched like nobody's business, y'all. Oh my God. So anyway, I'm just going to share a little bit of a written story. I share this story in my travels, and so I just want to share a little bit with you. My journey has been an evolving one, where my mind, heart, and views continue to develop. Along the way, I've realized that it's up to me to make empowered and informed choices with my doctor and take charge of my life. I have to make choices. I have to make conscious changes to my lifestyle and take better care of myself, right? So when you get a diagnosis like this, you got to, okay? So a little bit about Sheila. I learned early on to take ownership for my life. By the time I was 16 years old, I gave birth to my first baby girl. 16 years old, y'all. I'm going to let that sink in. By the time I was 30, I was fleeing from a very abusive husband. And I mean abusive in every way imaginable. Okay? For the safety of my daughters, for my safety. It was not a fun time, you guys. So, get on my own. My girls and I are thriving. I've got a new career. I've landed a job with a great company here in Kansas City and enrolled, going back to school to finish my associates, went on and got my bachelor's and my master's, raised my daughters with, of course, the help of my village. Could not have done it without my mother and the other members of my village. And bam. How was I to know that all of that would be changed by an odd breakout in my skin? So back in 2005, I had this really strange breakout where it looked like hives, and they were raised and they itched and they were red and inflamed on my thighs, all over my thighs, and some on my butt too, y'all. And I thought, what in the world is this? Now, I was one of those kids who had to go and get an allergy shot once a week, until I was probably about 14, 15 years old. And so I thought it was my allergies. Maybe there was something I was allergic to. Go to the allergist. He recommends I go to a dermatologist. The dermatologist says to me, well, I'm going to test you for this very rare skin disease. Y'all, he never used the word cancer. Okay? So the skin biopsy came back negative. He had prescribed some topical steroids, and voila, it seemingly went away. Life moved on. I just counted as, just something strange that happened, a fluke or whatever. But your girl didn't dwell too much on it, okay? So 6 years later, I had another breakout. Yes, 6 years later. Those hives, that same itchiness. And it's an itch, y'all, that comes from within. It's not like you get a bite and itch. It's a burning kind of itch, And so I go back to a different dermatologist, but I had seen this dermatologist back in 2005 when I was originally going through all of these tests. And I didn't go back to the dermatologist because my skin cleared up. And so this dermatologist, which happened to be an African-American dermatologist here in Kansas City, took one look at my skin and said, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's CTCL. Those were the terms that he used. And I said, well, what is that? And he said the words Cutaneous T-Cell Lymphoma. Now, I didn't know exactly all the details of lymphoma, but I knew enough to know that meant cancer, y'all. So he didn't do a biopsy. He referred me to a specialist at KU. And I am so grateful to be in a city that has a team that specializes in this very rare type of lymphoma, right? Okay. And so, needless to say, long story short, I go to the specialist and I am officially diagnosed. Now, the irony is that the skin biopsy still came back negative. So it was the blood work. And I had an enlarged lymph node under my armpit when they did the scan to see what lights up, and so because we're talking about cancer. So if you've ever had a PET scan, they'll send you through it and areas of concern will light up. So under my arm, it was lit up. And so those are the ways that they confirm that I, in fact, had a stage 1A cutaneous T-cell lymphoma. So imagine the shock, y'all. Here I'm just, kind of getting in the groove of it. And, my girls are doing well. We're healing and going on with our lives. And I'm traveling and I've made new friends. And we've started a book club, a wine club, a martini club, a craft club. When I'm telling you, your girl was doing all kinds of things, dance coach at my oldest daughter's high school, PTA president at my other daughter's school. And so, life was good, and then I was hit with this. And so I had to make my mind up, really quick, how I was going to let this impact. So imagine having to go home and tell my daughters that I was just diagnosed with cancer. And a cancer that the scientists say there is no cure. Now, I know, and y'all know, that God can heal me, okay? And basically, I have claimed my healing. Although I will always be under some sort of treatment, I am doing well. I go to my treatment every 8 weeks, and the whole time I'm at treatment, I'm working, from my treatment chair. Then when I'm done, I get up and I go into the office. And as a matter of fact, speaking of treatment, let me show you this little clip. Okay, y'all, I am at treatment, and this is the chair that I sit in to get my treatment. And I've got my computer ready, my glasses. I might do a little beading while I'm here. I'll be here probably about 3 hours. This is the machine that administers my treatment. I know, look at that, y'all. And there is where my blood is collected and separated out in these little, there's a bag there, and there's a bag there, and we've got some heparin and I think just some fluid. But isn't that pretty amazing, y'all? So a lot of people think it's kind of like photophoresis. I mean, that photophoresis is kind of like dialysis, but it is not. I'm just kind of showing you what the room looked like. If I wanted to, I could watch television, and then their little thing if I needed to use the bathroom. You know, they're all fancy here, ain't they? So anyway, y'all, that's kind of what it looks like. And I'm getting ready to, the nurse is going to come in and take my vitals and all that good stuff and get me hooked up and started. And I'll show you guys a little bit after we get all done, after I get all hooked up. So, hey y'all, it's Thursday. This happens to be my treatment week. I am living successfully with a very rare type of lymphoma called Cutaneous T-Cell Lymphoma. I was diagnosed about almost 10 years ago now. And so for those who don't know what lymphoma is, let me just stop right here and tell you. Lymphoma is a form of blood cancer, okay? Cancers of the blood and or lymphatic system. Mine in particularly impacts my white blood cells, okay? So there's just that little tidbit, because most people go, what is lymphoma? You know, I'm not sure. I've never even heard of that before. And so there are many, many different types. And again, I live with one called Cutaneous T-Cell Lymphoma. So September is Lymphoma Awareness Month, y'all. And so, yes, I am going to take the whole month of September and dedicate it to lymphoma survivors like myself. And so be on the lookout for the show. We're going to cook together, we're going to eat together, and we're going to share stories of being diagnosed, the process, the fear, all of those things that come into play when one is diagnosed with cancer. So there you have a little bit of glimpse of, kind of what it looks like, what it, not what it feels like, but what it looks like at my treatment center. We're in individual rooms, and the type of treatment I could get is called photophoresis. It is a autoimmune therapy type of treatment. So it uses my own immune system. It retrains my immune system to fight. And so those cells that don't continue to multiply, mutate, and get into my bloodstream, because we don't want that to happen. So anyway, I wanted to share that, and now I'm going to go ahead and get into the dish. I'm going to show you how to make, it's a chicken stir fry. It's something very light, very simple, because one of the things that happened as a result of my diagnosis is that my eating habits changed. My oldest daughter came over, and when I tell you anything that was in here that was in a can or a box, processed food with all these extra dyes, she was like, Mom, she threw it away. She's like, you can't eat that stuff. She said, you have to eat food that's living. You have to eat food that's going to fuel your body and energize your body. And so I'm so grateful for her, having the knowledge and the passion to research and understand what I needed and what my body needed. So thank God for adult daughters, right? So we're going to get into this dish, and then we'll kind of go from there. And then as I taste the dish, I'll share a little bit more about awareness, a website that you can go to look up more information. You all, in particularly for my African-American brother and sisters, becoming a bone marrow donor is absolutely critical, y'all. Okay, they're not going to take any blood, and they're just going to take a swab to see if you qualify, if you can be a donor. That's the first step. And so we're going to talk about a little more about that in next week's episode, or the week after, I can't remember. But one of the guests this week, who is a survivor, went through that. And so him and his wife are going to talk about you know, how difficult it was to find a match for us, you know. And so I'm gonna need y'all to get on the donor list, y'all, but I'm gonna put that information up there so you will know where to go and what to look for. And if you're having any skin issues that just seem odd or out of the norm, or don't wait, go check. Okay, because you never know. So I'll be right back, y'all, and we're gonna get into this dish. Okay, y'all, we're gonna whip up this chicken stir fry really quick. It don't take very long. Take a look at the ingredients for today's episode. Today's ingredients include chicken breast, broccoli, shallots, yellow peppers, carrots, green onions, fresh ginger, mushrooms. For the sauce, we have brown sugar, sesame oil, and chopped garlic, y'all. So you see, easy ingredient stuff that's easy to pick up at any of your local grocers. I've got the oil is heating up. I put a little bit of olive oil in the wok, and we're gonna start with adding the chicken. So I took 2 chicken breasts and I just cut them up in little chunks, okay? I seasoned them really well, and now we're going to drop it in the skillet or drop it in the wok. Okay. Now, if you don't have a wok, of course you can absolutely do this in any kind of skillet that you have at home. I like cooking it in a wok just, because I like the way it heats up, and I like my wok. I'm actually looking for a cast iron one because I really want a cast iron one. So the chicken is cooking. Turn that up just a little bit. Now, actually, one of the things you could do if you wanted to save time is you could cook the chicken the night before. Put it in the refrigerator, then when you get home, all you got to do is throw in your vegetables and it's ready to roll, okay? So it is cooking. And I cut them up into little chunks, so of course it won't take that long for it to cook, right? So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to let the chicken cook just about a minute more, and then I'm going to add the carrots because, they're real carrots, and I did slice them kind of thin, but we want to make sure that the carrots are, I like them kind of crunchy, but not too crunchy where I got to go like that. Not like eating a totally raw carrot. I still want them done, to an extent. So, what's one of your favorite healthy meals to cook? Why don't y'all drop me a line, give me a recipe so I can retry and try to make it myself. See how that works. Oh yeah, this is cooking up. Yes, so I'm going to let you all see what that looks like as the chicken is cooking, so you'll just have an idea of what it's going to look like in your skillet when you're cooking it up. The chicken breast cooking up. Okay, y'all see that? So I'm going to go ahead and throw the carrots in so they can start doing their thing. Because again, we want those carrots to be cooked really good, perfectly. Okay. So, as I was mentioned earlier about cutaneous T-cell lymphoma, or it's CTCL for short, it is a very rare type of lymphoma, and it's a non-Hodgkin's type of lymphoma. And based on my research and from my understanding, and if there's somebody out there that has a more scientific explanation for it, non-Hodgkin's and Hodgkin's, the difference between the two just means non-Hodgkin's, something happened to my DNA after birth. So it wasn't anything that I was born with or anything that I was predisposed for or anything that was passed down to me through my DNA. So they say environmental, who knows? Now, I believe stress, being highly stressed, is what weakened my immune system to allow this to come in. Now, I can't scientifically prove that, but, that's my own personal take on it. And that's my personal take on it, knowing, my body and how my body functions. So, These carrots are cooking up. And, you know, the main reason, you know, why I am sharing stories, my story, and a couple other stories about people who have lived through this or who are going through this is because it makes it real, y'all. And so that to encourage you that if there's anything going on with your body, go get it checked out, because you just never know what could be going on. And so, and it's important to get in front of it, get ahead of it when we can. And so you just never know. Like, I was diagnosed stage 1A. Now, what if I would have waited? What if I didn't pay attention to the breakouts and those sorts of things? You know, I could have been diagnosed at a much later stage, you know. So I am grateful, you know, for being one of those people, paying attention to what's going on. So I want y'all to do that too. And here's a website. It's the CL Foundation, Cutaneous Lymphoma Foundation.org. I want you guys to check it out. And there's different types of cutaneous lymphomas, okay? I have cutaneous T-cell lymphoma, but there are other types. And so just to familiarize yourself, and there's also a donate button on there, y'all, so that click that donate button, and they give lots of money to research every year so that people like me who are living with it can have access to the latest cutting edge treatment, okay? So the clfoundation.org, y'all go check them out. Okay, y'all, this is coming along. This chicken is cooking. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the yellow bell peppers. You can use yellow, orange, red, green. Yellow was the only ones I had at home, so these are in the fridge, so these are the ones that we're using today. So we're going to throw those in there. And the more veggies we have in there, the better, right? Okay, let that mix up. Now, the other thing I'm going to show you how to make as that is cooking is a sauce. You know, when everything is all done, I pour this sauce over it to kind of then mix it all in. And oh my God, you guys, I'm telling you, it's so good. Now, you can serve it over rice if you like. I typically don't. Because where I can cut out a carb, your girl's trying to cut out a carb, okay? So I have a half a cup of brown sugar in here, okay? And let me kind of get it loosened up. And then I'm going to use soy sauce. And this is low sodium soy sauce. And I'm not measuring it. I think it's probably about, I don't know, maybe a half a cup to cup that I end up using. And you just kind of gauge it. Okay. And then you mix it. So you see I'm just kind of mixing it. The brown sugar and the soy sauce. Because it is going to make this dish absolutely wonderful. Okay, now I'm going to use just a little more soy sauce. And then I'm going to also add some fresh chopped garlic. Okay. So here we have some chopped garlic. I'll put that in there. And some chopped ginger. Put that in there. And then the last thing I'm going to put in this mixture is a little sesame oil. Okay. You can find sesame oil. I get it from my local Asian market. But I'm sure the regular grocery stores, they probably have a little sesame oil as well. Okay. So now the sauce is all ready. And let's see what's going on over here in this wok, y'all. Oh my goodness. It looks good. Turn that up just a little bit. So now I'm going to add shallots. And I'm going to go ahead and add the broccoli to y'all. Oh, yes. This is going to be delicious. And I'm gonna add a few mushrooms. I'm a mushroom kind of girl, so I'm gonna add a few of those. And I'm gonna let you guys see what this looks like. So there we have it, cooking. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Look at all them colors. Let me tell y'all, this smells so good over here. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to add a few, I think I used 2 green onions, both the green and the white. We're going to put that in there. And we're going to let that cook for a minute, and then we're going to pour this sauce in here. And when we come back, I'm going to get a chance to taste, tell y'all how fire it is, and then we're just going to wrap up my story of living successfully with cutaneous T-cell lymphoma. We'll be right back. Here is our finished dish. This is our chicken stir fry with broccoli, peppers, mushrooms, and that wonderful sauce. Okay, y'all, the stir fry is done, and I get a chance to taste it and tell y'all how good it is. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is advocacy. How to be your own best advocate when you're diagnosed with something unexpected or a loved one is diagnosed with something unexpected. So let me take a little taste. Look at that, y'all. Ooh, and that juice. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Here we go. Y'all see that steam coming up? Oh my God. Remember I talked about them carrots? I want to make sure them carrots was cooked right. Oh yeah. This is it, y'all. Try making it for your family. You can use chicken. I've used chicken. I use fish, shrimp, beef. And again, if you want to serve it over rice, you can do that too. Makes a complete dish for you. So it's fire. Chicken, stir-fried rice. I mean, chicken, stir-fry. So the last thing I wanted to kind of talk about is advocacy. So one of the things that is critical when you are diagnosed with something that is life-threatening as cutaneous T-cell lymphoma is that you have to really know and understand what it is and how it impacts. And how to be your own best advocate, okay? And so by that I mean ask questions. You know, work together as a team with your healthcare team. You know, they facilitate that, but you take an active role in it. And I know initially, which is one of the reasons why I'm so grateful for my oldest daughter, is because my mind just wasn't there. I mean, having received that news, until I could wrap my own mind around that, my daughter stepped in and she asked a lot of questions. I took her to the doctor's appointments and, you know, she engaged in that and she taught me what she learned. And then of course, you know, I started asking my doctor's questions, my nurse's questions, you know, what does this mean? And what does that mean? You know, and in reading the lab work, you know, understanding what the lab work actually means. And so I remember one time I noticed that on my labs, there were these 2 variables that were always off, okay? They were out of range. One was either high and the other one was low. And so what I didn't know at that time is that they were correlated. And so I asked my nurse, I said, can you kind of tell me what this means? So she gave me an explanation of what it means, but she said, Sheila, when you see your oncologist, make sure you ask him, okay? And so next time I saw him, which happened to not be, you know, too much longer after that, I said, hey, I've noticed that these 2 variables are off. They're out of the normal range. What are they? And so he looked at them and he went back a couple of months and he said, you know what, Sheila, you're right. They are off. They are out of range. And he said to me, he said, that means your ferritin level is probably low. And I said, well, okay, first of all, time out. What is ferritin? So he explained to me that that was my iron level, and that because of the type of treatment that I get, my red blood cells they go through a lot. And so he said it's not abnormal for someone who gets the type of treatment that I get, which is photophoresis, to have low iron. And so I looked at him, put my hands on my hip, and I said, and why am I bringing this to your attention? Why hasn't your office noticed that? Okay. And so he said, you know what, Sheila, you're absolutely right. I owe you an apology. Somebody on my team should have noticed this and given you a call so that we can then take the steps to get your ferritin level up. Okay. And so just little things like that, knowing and understanding certain things and having open and clear communication with your healthcare team. Because again, they guide that process, but ultimately it's your body and your life. Okay, so let's learn how to be our own best advocate. So thank you guys so much for listening to my story. I hope that it helps someone. That is the reason why I share it wherever I go, is that somehow, hopefully it inspires and gives information. And you'll hear a few other stories during the month of September on the show, stories that are very different from mine. And so peace out, y'all. Again, if you notice something going on with your body, go check it out. Don't wait. Go check it out, okay? It just might be what saves your life, okay? So don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, all of that good stuff. We love you. We love you, Kansas City. We love you wherever you are. We appreciate your support, your feedback, because we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. Peace out, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day.